So, this is going to be a long one, and I'll make sure that you can skip to whatever point you want using the chapters below. Now, in this video, we will be going over everything happening in Season 1 of Marvel Rivals, from the new characters to the patch notes and new maps, including the Battle Pass. As it is going to be the biggest section, we will cover the patch notes first, starting off with Captain America. They have reduced the delay between putting down your shield and it regenning from 3 seconds to 2 seconds, but they've not changed the delay in putting back up your shield from when you've taken it down, which is the annoying part for me. His dash cooldown has also been reduced from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. His base health has been increased from 650 to 675. The energy cost for his ultimate has been reduced from 3,400 to 3,100, and the additional health per second to himself from his ult has been reduced from 110 to 100. You gain less bonus health from your ult per second, not total. Moving on to Doctor Strange, his Maelstrom ability has had damage fall off added onto it, where it starts at 5 meters away from him and reduces to 70% of the initial damage at 8 meters away from him. They haven't changed the range with this, so don't worry about that, but they've just changed the damage beyond 5 meters. Now his shield will also now regen slower, from 80 HP per second to 70 HP per second now. Thor is next, with his base health being increased from 500 to 525. And the big one here, when he ults, he will have immunity to control effects. Now, I'm taking this as he can't be stunned by stuff like Penny Parker and Luna Snow, but we will see as I actually get to play him in actual games. Now, Hulk has had his bubble health reduced from 250 to 200. This means that it just can be burst down quicker and he's a little bit weaker. Venom is going to be even more unkillable, with his symbiotic resistance health ratio being increased from 1 to 1.2, meaning that he's going to get 20% more bonus health from his E ability. It's insane. I don't understand why they're doing it. But the base damage of his ultimate has also been increased. Why? From 40 to 50, meaning that it will now do 50% of your total health, which it did before. That's not the change. Plus 50, so you'll be 10 health closer to dying. Now onto the duelists. Black Panther has had nerfs to his bonus health from the Spirit Rend ability, his shift one that he regains from getting the mark, from hitting the marked people. It's decreasing the amount that he can get per use of the ability from 125 to 75, and the bonus health gain from hitting each marked target from 40 to 30. So he's going to be easier to kill. Black Widow has had some buffs. Her edge dancer kick has gone from a 3 meter radius to a 5 meter radius. Her stamina now regenerates in 4 seconds instead of 12, and her ult takes less time to charge. 1 second previously to 0.6 seconds now. The stamina regen thing is massive change. You can be able to run so much more. Hawkeye has had his spread on the blast arrows been reduced, so it means you can destroy walls easier. But the major thing is that his passive's trigger distance has been reduced from 60 to 40 meters. It's going to be a lot easier to deal with him, but he's still going to be there. He's still going to be able to one-shot. And now the max damage of the passive, not him charging with his bow, of the passive has been reduced from 80 to 70. So it does mean that he needs to charge longer to be able to get a one-shot. And he does less total damage against stuff like tanks. However, he can still one-shot. I would say still going to be a problem. Now, Hela has had her base health reduced from 275 to 250. Magic has had the Umbral Incursion, the E abilities, damage increased during Darkchild, her ult, from 115 to 135. Moon Knight has had his ultimate buffed, with more hands coming down, 10 to 14 hands, and now there's going to be 14 hands now, 4 extra, and their explosion radius has been increased from 4 meters to 5 meters. so they're going to be more deadly. There's going to be more of them. Yeah. Namor has had the throwing feel of his summons changed to make it easier to place where you want it to go, and it does actually feel better. Like it does feel like you know where they're going to land, sort of thing. Like it's a little bit weird. You need to try it out for yourself, but it definitely does feel better. Psylocke has had a big nerf to her ultimate, with it now taking into account shields in its line of sight calculations. So basically, you can hide from her ult using like a Doctor Strange shield, so you can hide behind a Doctor Strange shield, or someone can put a bubble on you, so like Magneto can put a bubble on you, or Hulk can jump in and bubble you with his thing, and then Psylocke won't target you with her ultimate. Punisher's spread has now also been slightly reduced with both of his guns. Scarlet Witch has had her power shifted from tank busting to more base damage to be able to deal with duelists and strategists more. Her left click auto aim has had its damage increased from 50 per second to 60 per second, but the percentage of max health damage per second has been decreased from 5% to 3%. And her burst damage has been increased from 30 damage per shot to 35 damage per shot. Storm has had her left click projectile speed increased from 100 meters per second to 150 meters per second, and the damage increased from 50 to 55. Her bolt rush right click ability has had its damage increased from 70 to 80. And after using her ultimate, she'll get more bonus health, increasing from 350 to 450, so it's an extra 100 bonus health that she gets from her ultimate, and when the ult ends, it will no longer just vanish, instead it will diminish at a rate of 100 per second. Squirrel Girl's ultimate will now rush towards the nearest enemy once it hits a wall, instead of in a random direction, meaning it's going to be much more deadly. So basically, if there's an enemy next to a wall, you can chuck it at the enemy, it hits the enemy, it hits the wall behind them, and it goes straight for them. And they will probably die. But the health of the ult has been reduced from 600 to 300, so you can actually kill it now. Winter Soldier has been buffed, with his projectile damage increasing from 70 to 75, and the bonus health from his abilities increasing from 30 to 40. His base health has also been increased from 250 to 275. He is going to be insane. You are going to hear a lot more of again. Be prepared for it. Wolverine has had his base health increased from 300 to 350, and the damage reduction of his E reduced from 50% to 40%. Now on to strategists. So Cloak and Dagger has had their Dagger Storm cooldown reduced from 15 seconds to 12 seconds, and they have also increased the number of dashes in their ult from 3 to 4. It's just completely unnecessary. They're already almost unkillable in that thing anyway. Now they're going to be even more unkillable. You're going to need like 7, 10 Punisher ults to actually do any damage to them. It's just you aren't killing them when they ult, right? As long as they're smart, you are not going to kill them. Jeff has also had his ult changed from a sphere to a cylinder with the same radius, 10 meter radius, but a 5 meter height, meaning that it will now behave a lot more similar to how it actually visually looks, and technically it's a buff, so they've added tons of space to where his ult actually affects, to where his ult can have an effect. And then also his healing right click beam has been increased from 140 HP per second to 150 HP per second. Now Luna Snow has had the interval of switching her ult between the healing and damage modes increased from every 0.1 seconds to every 0.5 seconds, meaning you no longer have to hear that grating sound that comes from people just spamming the Q button when they ult to be able to get both healing and damage almost at the same time. It's just so annoying. You have to now choose one. Just choose one, and you don't have to. Yeah, that grates my ears. But anyway, Mantis has had her movement speed boost from her passive ability reduced from plus 2.5 meters per second to plus 1.5 meters per second. So yeah, this isn't base movement speed, so she's still same base movement speed, it's just the bonus she gets from her passive. Rocket has also had his healing increased from 60 per second to 70 per second on his right-click orb things. Now, on to team-ups. So, in the patch notes, they have said that next season, Season 2, we are going to see massive sweeping changes to the team-up abilities, but right now, as we're all still new to the game, they are just changing the numbers to buff or nerf whoever they want. But I cannot wait to see what these changes to the team-ups they're talking about will be for Season 2. I'm already imagining like they are just going to completely swap out, like you aren't going to have the same team-ups, and they're just going to be different, and it's going to completely change up the meta. I can't wait for it. Now, starting off with Hawkeye and Black Widow's team up. Hawkeye is having his damage increase reduced from 20% to 15%, the season bonus thing. Hela's having the same thing with her seasonal bonus in the team up with Loki and Thor. So they're just having a straight nerf. It's down to 15% from 20% for both of them. Now the Lunar Snow and Namor team up is next, with Namor's summon getting buffed, damage increasing from 25 to 27, and the slowing effect increasing from 25% to 30%, and the Berserk state damage increasing from 16 to 18. Rocket Raccoon, the Punisher and Winter Soldier's team up is next, with the cooldown for Rocket's ammo intervention decreasing from 45 seconds to 40 seconds. And then Scarlet Witch and Magneto's team up also had changes. So with Magneto's metallic fusion, the damage has been increased from 55 to 60, and the splash damage has been increased from 30 to 35, so a direct hits damage has been increased by a total of 10. And lastly, we have Thor, Storm and Captain America's team up ability, and it's all just a buffs to Storm's ability. The Charge Gale cooldown has been reduced from 20 seconds to 15 seconds, and the damage increased from 50 to 55. Now onto the skins and the Battle Pass. Basically how NetEase is going to make their bread, and oh boy have they been cooking something up. First we have the skin for Mr. Fantastic. I don't particularly like this skin, I think it's because it hides his face. But I've seen praise for the skin on websites, online. Yeah, it's not a bad skin, I just don't particularly like it. Now, this next one, I know, there's a reason. There's a reason why you got here. Like, it's going to be a reason for lots of people to pull out their wallet, I'm sure. And here is the ultimate money-making machine, the Malice skin for Invisible Woman. The first for this skin has been unlike any seen before it. Like, as soon as it was released, people went wild. Not even the Psylocke skin had people this riled up. Like this is another level. They have reached the next level. Now, with the Battle Pass, you can get 10 total skins with 2 legendary ones, all for a price of £8.50. I think it's $10 American. So yeah, it's really good value for money, I would say. Less than £1 a skin is insane in my mind. And you don't even need to complete it now. You could buy it for $10, £8.50. and then wait until like next year, not even play the game, and you can still unlock all the skins. Next, I am going to explain both of the new characters' abilities, starting with Invisible Woman. As a left click, she has Orb Projection, which is a projectile which goes a set distance in a straight line. It will hit everything in its path. It is stopped by terrain, but it will still hit on its way back. This will heal or damage depending on if it hits an ally or an enemy. Obviously, it wouldn't heal an enemy and damage an ally. It would be cool to see something like that, to be honest. But I have no idea what the use would be. Maybe it did something for you, like you stole health from your allies, and then maybe you give the enemies health, but that gives you health as well. I don't know, it'd be really cool to see. I don't know, a bit of a tangent there. Where was I in the thing? Invisible Woman, Orb Projection, Terrain. Ah yes, her abilities. So, Psionic Vortex, activated with the left shift key, will shoot out a projectile, which when it lands creates basically a sphere which will damage enemies, pull them in, kill them. You can get out of it. It's not like a black hole that you can't get out of. You can get out of it reasonably easily, but it's just an area denial thing, I think. And you can activate it early, like with Scarlet Witch's Chaos Control, so you can just like have a big sphere in the sky or whatever. Next is her E ability, Force Physics, which allows you to choose between pushing or pulling the enemies in front of you. This will damage them, so that's quite good. It can be used to pull them towards you, shift, and then you just left click, and that's probably the quickest way you can kill someone. It's not incredibly quick, but it's still it's the combo. Next is basically her melee key. So with Agile Strike, it means that every third attack in her melee combo will push the enemies back in front of you. So you can like go into melee range and then just push someone like off the edge. Now her double jump allows her to go invisible on use, so as after the double jump sort of like ends, like when you get to like the top of the double jump, you'll go invisible, and it's really useful with her passive ability. Last off on the abilities is her Guardian Shield. On right click, this will place a shield in front of an ally. The shield does not move, but it will heal nearby allies and slow enemies that pass through it. It doesn't move with your ally. You can move it as much as you want without cooldown until it breaks, in which case you have a cooldown, or you destroy it, in which case it has a cooldown. It will not regen as it's sat there, so you will have to either destroy it or wait for it to be destroyed if you want it to regen. Now, with her passive ability, Covert Advance, this means that you'll become invisible after a while of not being in combat, and while invisible you'll get healing over time. Now, if you double jump, become invisible, you still get that healing over time as soon as you become invisible. You don't need to wait any longer. So if you're just so if like there's like an Iron Fist or something, melee, pushing back, jump away, become invisible, heal, he has to try and find you then. Now with Sue Storm's ult, Invisible Boundary, it's a force field that will make everyone inside it invisible to the enemy outside of the field and heal all allies inside. It will also slow down enemies that enter it as well. As far as I know, this does not cause you to stop affecting the point. So as far as I know, please go try this out. You can't C9 with this ult. Instead, it's a very good finisher to cap a point in push maps. Her team up is with Mr. Fantastic, granting her a 15% healing bonus. It's called Fantastiforce, so I guess the rest of the Fantastic Four are also going to be joining it when they come in Season 1 Part 2. Now, with Mr. Fantastic, his left click is called Stretch Punch. It's an attack that you can direct while it's in motion, so you can hit multiple targets at once. A bit like Rhinehammer, so you can like swing it and hit multiple targets and hit someone all the way behind you maybe. However, you don't gain extra elasticity from this, from the extra hits, just from the initial hit. Now, to explain his abilities fully, I will be going over the passive Elastic Strength now. So attacking and using your abilities will build up the elasticity meter below your crosshair. When it becomes full, or 100, you will become bigger and gain 450 bonus health, and your left click becomes a closer range melee punch, which does a lot more damage. You can still swing it around and hit multiple targets, however you cannot use any of your abilities. Apart from your ultimate, you can use your ultimate while in this mode. Now you can cancel this mode before the timer runs out, so you can use an ability. Now speaking of abilities, first on the list is Flexible Elongation. This allows you to dash towards your allies and give them a 75 health shield. It's bonus health, not like a shield, physical shield. It's just bonus health, but it's like 75. Or you can dash towards your enemy and deal about 55 damage to them. But whatever way you use this ability, you will gain 75 bonus health either way and 30 elasticity either way. so your bonuses stay the same. It's just, do you want to help your allies, or do you want to do damage? Next is Distended Grip, which is a bit of a weird name for it, where you entangle an enemy, and then you either look at another enemy and then left click, and you basically smash them together and put them up into the air, make them kiss, whatever. It's the meme that's been going around, just make them kiss, you know. Or you can choose to pull them towards you, kiss you himself, but yeah. Now this will give you 30 elasticity, however you won't transform until after you either pull the enemy towards you or you hit them together, and it will only last 3 seconds, so once you click the button, you'd better have either another target in mind or just pull them towards you and deal damage to them, because you only have 3 seconds to choose the next target, or it will just cancel on its own without doing any damage, and you still have the cooldown, so it's, yeah. The last ability is Reflexive Rubber. This allows you to absorb damage up to 300 and then launch the damage towards where you're facing. If it exceeds the 300, then it will instantly reflect back the damage. In the trailer you can see the Iron Man ult, and then they send it back at the Iron Man, and the Iron Man dies, but the Iron Man doesn't really dodge. So anyway, on to his ultimate, Brainiac Bounce. This is basically like a mixture between Thor and Bucky. Basically, if their ultimates had a baby, it would be this. But you can so you can bounce 3 times for free. It is a bit like Thor's ult, where you see the ground, you go up, you see the ground, you bounce back on. But once you bounce, you then sort of go back up, and you go back up in the direction you're facing, not in the direction of the keyboard input. Or the controller input, not in the inputted direction, just in the direction you are facing. It's a bit weird, and it does take a little bit of getting used to, but you should get it quite quickly. And you can bounce for free 3 times, but if you land the 3rd bounce, then you'll get a 4th, and if you land that, you get a 5th, and if you land that, you get a 6th. You don't get a 7th. You get 6 is like the hard limit, but you get the first 2 for free, basically. You get the first 3 for free, but you don't need to hit the first 2, so you can go miss, you can go like from spawn, bounce, because you do get quite a bit of distance, especially with the first bounce. So you get quite a bit of distance, so you bounce, and then hit on like point or something. It's like if you're being like spawn camped, you can just bounce out into them. And, yeah. Now the ult does not do a ton of damage per bounce, so it's a bit tricky to actually kill things, and it leaves you quite vulnerable to taking quite a lot of damage during it. So I would suggest gaining some bonus health before activating it. Now you can activate it during your inflated state, so you get the extra 450 bonus health, but if you use both your E's, get into the inflated state, then you'll have like 900 HP, and you can ult, and so you have 900 HP balls bouncing around your backline. That's not going to be the best thing for the enemy. Lastly is his team up ability with Invisible Woman called Wedded Harmony. This gives you an extra button, a C key, which will grant bonus health over time when activated. It's on a 20-second cooldown, so be sure to activate it whenever you need it. Now, this is going to give you extra bonus health if you've taken damage, so you want to have taken damage and then activate this, because otherwise it will only give you like 50, and then it will stay at 50 until you take more damage than that, and then it will go up more. So you use it when you're like taking damage, basically, to get the most use out of it. Now we move on to the maps. First is the Empire of Eternal Night, Midtown. This is a push map set in New York, where you have to either push the objective from Baxter Building to Avengers Tower, or you have to stop them from pushing the objective. Now, this map has time reversal as its way to restore the destroyed terrain. And there's this like massive Iron Man suit in like the middle of like second point, where if you go onto the rubble by it and then time reversal happens, then you just fly up and you just clip through the terrain. And it doesn't really look like you can like bring it back down, but it's quite cool. Not really built for you to go up on there though, so yeah. Now the next map, Sanctum Sanctorum, is linked to the new game mode Doom Match, so I'll be talking about them as one thing basically. Now the map is inside and outside of Doctor Strange's sanctum. Basically it's his house, and you get to see there's like a fridge with tentacles coming out of it, Cthulhu in his fridge, I don't know. There's other things you can go around and find, but there are quite a lot of portals around. Now, I didn't see any impacts on my machine. I normally get quite a lot of impact if there's like a Doctor Strange portal, but that was really nice to see where we had portals that didn't lag you finally. Yeah, so the new game mode, Doom Match, is essentially deathmatch, apt to name, where it's either the person in first reaches 16 score or time runs out, then the top 50% of the lobby will win the match. Now, it can be held with between 12 and 16 people, so you can have 6 to 8 winners. And duelists shouldn't really struggle because you get healing after every knockout, and that sort of alleviates the pressure to hunt for health packs in between every fight. Thank you for watching this far, and if you're still here, comment Ghost Dog so I know that you are here. Anyway, can't wait to play Season 1 in full when it releases with all of you on Friday the 10th at 9 AM GMT. Goodbye.